probably my biggest mistake and probably my most expensive mistake in terms of a smart home device was installing 4 of these when we moved into a fixer-upper. Let me explain. So this story begins about 11 years ago when we bought an old house to start to fix it up, remodel, increase the space, add a bathroom, tear down some walls, do everything that it needed. And one of the things we needed to do, because we had small children, was put in smoke detectors that would work together. Now, I don't know what all was on the market 11 years ago, but I really wanted to do the Nest smoke detectors. And so we started out with 2 of them and then added 2 more. So we had 4 in our system, but we very soon started having issues with them, giving us false alarms. And I'm going to explain what I figured out happened in hindsight and what I did wrong.
Hi from Nest. Ready. In the kitchen. Press to test. Ready. In the kitchen. Press to test. This is only a test. The alarm will sound. The alarm is loud. The test starts in 10 seconds. Press to cancel. 10, 1. This is only a test. Testing smoke. Testing carbon monoxide.
We all have a love-hate relationship with smoke detectors because usually if they're going off, we don't really want them to. You don't want to have to unhook your smoke detectors, but I was having to unhook these periodically because there was no way to just silence them the way the system was set up. These are the Nest smoke detectors. They work with Google Home, and as Google and Nest have continued to merge more and more, these products all work together. And I really, really liked these when we installed them. They're pretty expensive, and putting in 4 of them meant we had over $500 worth of smoke detectors invested right there. Now, that wasn't all the smoke detectors we had in the house, but we had one positioned in each section of the home so that in the event there was smoke in a faraway part of the basement, we would find out on the other end of the house upstairs in our bedroom.
Actually, very sturdy. Wow.
First time they went off as a problem was in the middle of the night, and it happened to be the one in my children's bedroom. But when it started going off, all the ones in the house start going off. You can silence them with a push or on the app on your phone, but you can only silence them so much. So if you get up and silence it and it still thinks there's smoke, it's going to go off again, and there's nothing you can do on the app or with the button. You have to really manually take the batteries out, or with the wired ones, you have to unhook them. And so that's a big problem. So with the battery versions, I would just have to actually take them down and take the batteries out to get it to stop. With the wired versions, it was even more difficult because the wired versions not only are wired, but they have a backup battery supply. So here's the back of the battery version. Here's the back of the wired version. It doesn't have as many batteries, but it still has that battery supply. And so here's where the power would go in to the wired version. And so I would have to pop it loose from its wiring and then run it down, find a screwdriver to take the back off so that I could disarm it. So one reason I enjoy doing YouTube videos today is because I have watched so many YouTube videos. I learned how to do a lot of different things in terms of a home remodel and have taught myself and been taught lots of skills that have enabled me to create a more up-to-date home than we bought. However, one of the things I did not learn early on was that dust and smoke detectors are not a good combination. So this disc on a smoke detector is its sensor. It's set up. If you get dust on these, it's a big problem. It can give you false reading. Getting them clean and trusting them is not as easy as you might think. So the closest thing I have to a smart smoke detector today is the Ring listener. So this is part of my Ring security system, and it listens for this smoke and CO alarm to go off. And if it does, it will let me know. But this is, I'll link to this one. This is a pretty good smoke and CO alarm. It gives you real numbers on it, and you can silence it easily or pull the battery out from the front. So again, it's not a smart one, but after you've been burned, it's hard to go back. So the problem that we had with these smoke detectors was that they got dusty, apparently. We didn't know why they were malfunctioning to start with, but we would get alarms, and of course these alarms don't happen at a convenient time. You get alarms at 2 a.m. and at 2 a.m. dealing with a smoke alarm going off, especially in your children's bedroom, is a really, really frustrating thing. So now the problem with these Nest smoke alarms originally was that you could silence them a little bit, but if they continue to think there was smoke, then you couldn't do anything about it. So phase one with the old house remodel was a lot of floor sanding and refinishing, but there was also a contractor who did some drywall work in the kitchen area. Phase two, we moved upstairs to basically gut and redo the entire upstairs, and that involved a whole lot of drywall. I was a drywall rookie, so I probably created even more dust than someone who really knew what they were doing. And so what I discovered in hindsight is something that professionals should know and a do-it-yourselfer needs to know. But smoke detectors need to be covered up when there's dust in the air. And it's hard when you're doing a remodel because that dust is not just going to go away. It's still in the home for a period of time. And that dust messes up your smoke detectors. So as I'm detailing in this video, this little disc right here is a very sensitive, but the sensitivity of this disc gets compromised when it gets covered with dust. So I hope today's video was helpful. I hope it helps you to not make the mistake that I did. And I certainly have learned from it. I do not currently have smart smoke detectors in my house, but I think I have a pretty good smoke alarm system nonetheless.